Yes, guys, Ryjack back for another Man City video. It is unfortunately the international break, and the international break sucks. I am not a fan. You heard me talk about it before. I don't love international football, especially the friendlies. I don't mind the World Cup and the Euros and Copa America and whatnot, but the friendlies, not for me, not for me. So I'd much rather be watching my beloved Manchester City. Anyway, with it being international break, what tends to happen is a lot of journalists start putting out some news, and it's a lot of the times related to transfer news. So I am here for that today. We're going to recap, take a look at what's been said today, basically a Manchester City daily transfer news situation, as well as some Pep Guardiola news that's out there as well, which we do need to discuss. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on those reports that are out there. So before we start, thank you guys for the support on the channel. As always, if you're new, hit like, hit subscribe, and comment, of course. If you're new, comment where you're from. Are you a global Man City fan, like I am, an American Manchester City fan? I love to find global fans as well. So let me know where you're from. Anyway, let me pull up Twitter here, and I've got it pinned, the pinned one at the top of my bookmarks at the moment. Nathan Ake could leave Man City in January with Inter Milan, Juventus, and Crystal Palace. Having positioned themselves to sign the defender, Man City would only be willing to negotiate a straight transfer in the region of 35 million euros. Now, for me, 35 million euros is incredible value for Nathan Ake. I would have thought it'd be similar to like the Kanji money that was being thrown around, between 15 and 20 million, something like that. 35 million euros seems like a great deal for Nathan Ake at his age and injury history and importance to the squad. While I love having Ake around, if a bid of 35 million euros actually came in, I think City would be crazy to turn that down. It's way too good of value for what would we actually be giving up. Of the teams interested, I would personally probably prefer it if he went to Italy. Inter Milan, Juventus, we're not likely to play them really. Maybe we would in the Champions League. But again, Crystal Palace, they sign him, and that basically frees up Mark Gahey in January, going to Liverpool potentially, which Liverpool may or may not be out of the Premier League race at the moment. I personally think they're still in it. They're only 8 points back. It's only November. I think they still have a chance personally. Maybe a small one, but I don't think they're dead just yet. And getting Gahey in January, it only bolsters them for the rest of this season as well as going forward. So ideally, to me, I'm not really feeling Nathan Ake to Crystal Palace for that main reason. However, if we had some sort of swap situation and Gahey came back to us, I would be much more open to that. Do I see that happening? Probably not. If Gahey goes to Liverpool, he might basically be the center back next to Van Dijk if Konate is about to leave, or third to Van Dijk Konate, that partnership. Whereas if he comes to City, he's replacing Nathan Ake, who's currently fifth choice. So I don't really think that Gahey in January makes much sense. One option I do like is said actually by legend_Silva21. Very good Twitter account here, says recall Vitor Hayes. I like that idea. He's been playing a lot for Girona. Girona are not doing well in La Liga this year. And he's a young prospect who we put some money in. Maybe he's had 6 months on loan and can come back and be a valuable squad player that doesn't actually need a whole lot of time. I'm happy for him to keep playing for Girona, but if Ake leaves, surely they replace him in January, and who better than one of our upcoming prospects, or young wonder kids, as they say, in terms of Vitor Hayes. As well, Kusanov coming back from injury. Ideally, he gets more minutes as well. But him and Ake are not really competing for minutes. The only other thing I would say is that Nathan Ake is a left-sided center back, and Vitor Hayes is right-footed. So, maybe we would look for a left-sided replacement. Nathan Ake can cover at left back in a pinch if we need it, and I'm certain Vitor Hayes cannot do that. So, one to watch out for. I had heard Palace weeks ago, actually, and I did a video on it as well then. So, Palace maybe has some legs, But again, I would personally prefer Inter Milan or Juventus, just for me. So let me know what you guys think. Second story of the day from Sasha Tavalieri. Got it pulled up right here. Man City are observing the situation around the future of Real Madrid's Vinicius Jr. from a distance, unwilling to get involved in the matter. It's a little bit weird wording to me. They're observing the situation from a distance, but it doesn't say uninterested. It says unwilling to get involved in the matter. To me, that means they're not willing to say, Vinny, don't sign the contract. We're coming for you. That's what that means to me. However, if he becomes available, they are monitoring and keeping tabs with things. And I did a video a while ago about Vinny. Should City be interested in him? Would the fans accept Vinny? And it seemed like you guys basically said no. Very minimal people in the comments on that video were open to Vini Jr. to City. For me, I'm willing to look past the maybe locker room issues he might have, the personality issues he might have, the anger management problems he might have, because Vinny comes into a team and he provides goals and he provides assists. And that's all they really care about to me. If he comes in and the greatest coach in the world, Pep Guardiola, can't coach him, I don't know. Maybe it's a mistake. But I personally believe Pep can coach basically anyone, and even if his personality and ego is so high, Pep can coach that out of him in a way where he contributes to the team. I know Doku is on a great run right now, doing fantastic as a left winger, and we have Marmoush as well. Marmoush is barely playing at the moment. So I do think Vinny coming in, one of those guys would have to leave. At the moment, you'd have to say Marmoush would be the odd man out, unfortunately for him. I know we just signed him, but on their day, I do think it's clear that Vinicius Jr. is better than both of them. And I don't think that's a really controversial opinion to say. So, in my eyes, the squad just gets better with Vini Jr. So that's why I'd be willing to do that and sign Vinny. And I know people don't like that. People don't like him personally, but the whole Ballon d'Or thing with Rodri and then the banner that went kind of at Vinny, cry your eyes out. It is what it is. If City offer the bag, a lot of money, it's enough to get him to come play for us, I think it'd be fine. Just my opinion, and I know people don't like that, but I would personally take him. He scores goals, he gets assists. That's what I care about. Now, final story of the day, and probably the most influential one, actually, about Pep Guardiola. It says Pep and his staff realize they have a huge responsibility to City fans and do not want to leave the club in the lurch when they leave. Guardiola will give advice if asked, but recognizes ultimately the board chooses the next manager. This also comes after some comments about Pep potentially leaving this summer. I know his contract has a year, or 2 years, so this year and then the next season as well, he has extended for. So I don't know if this is confirmation exactly that Pep is planning on leaving, but those rumors are out there. And I wouldn't be personally shocked. You think of how Sir Alex Ferguson left. He left on top. He left with a Premier League title. So if City somehow win the Premier League this season, which I certainly think they could, and he could, I have the other tweet pulled up here as well. Let me just pull this back up. It says, like I said, a final decision has not been made. Those with knowledge of the situation admit an exit for Pep from Man City at the end of the season could be on the cards. And I think it's a fairy tale ending in a way, where Pep wins the Premier League or Pep wins the Champions League and he rides off in the sunset as the champion. He's rebuilt the squad again and leaving it on a high. He didn't want to leave last year because of how poor it was and how horrible the season was going, whereas if he rebuilds a squad, gets us back to the top of the mountain, what else is there for him to do? So I don't blame him for potentially thinking about leaving in summer 2026. He would have plenty of time to figure out what he wants to do as far as international management, which it does seem like that's where he's going to go after this. Is he can watch the World Cup 2026, take a couple of years off, 2 years maybe, and then get ready for the next cycle of the World Cup. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but I do think it's important to to say that it does, in theory, make sense that Pep leaves. I know people will say he's never broken a contract. He's always left at the end of the contract. I know, but Pep has all the cards in this scenario. Pep can basically do whatever he wants. He's not ever going to get sacked by Man City. It's just not happening. If he says, I'm done, I don't have it in me anymore, they're not going to say, actually, Pep, we refuse to let you stop. You have to do your one more year. That's not how this is going to work. If he wants to go, he will go. So I'm not really concerned that it's going to happen, but it does make some sense that it could potentially be his last season. And it would be sad, of course. Pep is the greatest manager that I've ever witnessed. He's the greatest manager in the world, to me. And I know I'm a biased Man City fan saying that, but he wins more than anybody else. He just does. So who we would get would be very interesting and a fun video and a whole summer series of figuring out who City are going to hire as their next coach. I'm sure you got the usual suspects. Vincent Kompany dominating the Bundesliga right now. Cooking. Bayern look amazing. You have Luis Enrique at PSG. Just won the Champions League. Obviously winning Ligue 1. You got Nagelsmann at Germany. I would think he'd want to leave maybe after the World Cup, depending on how they do. So those are the top three, I would say. You have the Girona manager as well, Michel, who's in the City group, but he's probably fallen out of contention at the moment. So those three. Maybe an outside chance for Cesc Fabregas. Maybe Xabi Alonso if he doesn't work out at Madrid, potentially with those rumors out there. But I really think it's between Kompany and Luis Enrique. Personally, those are probably the top two candidates right now. Again, maybe Pep extends and maybe he coaches another 5 years, and that'd be great. But I did think it was interesting that this does come out, and I thought it was worth talking about. So anyway, that is it for the news section of the video, and I do appreciate you guys watching. It is international break, so we'll have some more of these, ideally. Some more news comes out, I will come back to another video and let you guys know what's going on. Like I said, if you're new, hit subscribe, hit like, comment, let me know your thoughts. Where are you from? Are you a global Man City fan? And what do you think of the news? Nathan Ake maybe out the door, Vini Jr. potentially in the summer, and Pep Guardiola. Is he going to leave? Is he going to stay? Who should replace him? Let me know what you guys think. Anyway, I appreciate it for watching the whole video. See you in the next one. Peace.